Hey, welcome to Mastering at Hopetown Sound. We have the music of artist Thaddeus Chris, rapper. He was brought here by producer Brian Strauss, who worked with him on the tracks. So we're mastering his EP right now and just getting it set up. I just thought I'd share some of the cool stuff going on. Right now, you see two plugins on the screen. This is the Fabfilter corner. So Fabfilter EQ, not doing much, mostly a high pass filter. If you look at the actual hertz, I'm not scooping out much, just below 20 hertz, and the more important part is the settings. This is on linear phase and max, so super high quality. Takes a lot of DSP, but it sounds great. The next plugin is actually the last one in the chain. So that's the L2. That's that's Fabfilter's bus limiter. And again, interesting settings in the new one, in the L2. They added a few different profiles. I'm using one that was always there though, called Punchy. And there's a look ahead, attack and release, blah, blah, blah. Nice thing they have is you can adjust the stereo integrity of the transients or the release separately, which is neat. So you can keep your release at 100% if you want, but scramble the transients a little bit. That makes it for an interesting sound. This is a pretty conservative setting right now. I'm not really trying for much there. Of note though, this is new in the L2 version, true peak limiting, so it's actually looking for peaks in between the samples. So that's nice. You're really keeping it from peaking at any point in time. And then the oversampling used to max out at 4x, I think, on the version 1. This one you can crank even higher than this, but at 16x it really taxes the processor. But you know what? It actually really does sound better. It's an incredible sounding limiter. So that's what's going on. Basically, both of these plugins are on the master output bus. I know it's a little blurry there, but so the EQ is there, and then that says VT7. That's actually our analog tube compressor from DW Fern. And then this is the L2 down here. Now the significant thing, this is in Nuendo, same as Cubase. That little light blue line means that this plugin is post fader. So the nice thing about that is if I want to drive that peak limiter harder, I can just raise the master fader and it will drive it harder. And this is the last plugin, the last thing that the sound hits before, on its way out. So if I wanted to run an MP3 or something like that, I can just flip the dither on this output, and so that's a nice option to have. What I do in my process is I start in Nuendo. I have all the songs captured in here. This is running at 96K sample rate, and basically I'm in here. I'm doing the Fabfilter work, but I'm basically in here to run the music through the analog processing that I have, because Nuendo makes that very easy. They make it, dropping analog gear as if it was a plugin is just, it's so easy in Nuendo that I like to do it here. You can do this in Pro Tools too, but in Pro Tools, yeah, it's not bad, but you're somewhat limited in terms of your I/O. Whatever channels you come out on your interface, you have to go back on the exact same channels. Nuendo does not restrict you in that way. You can go out on any channel, in on any channel. So I just prefer the flexibility here. So let's take a look at what I'm doing. Now that external plugin is only labeled VT7. That's one compressor. That's not all I'm doing. I'm also running the signal through a pair of distressors. Let's take a look at that. So these are the Empirical Labs the EL8X. So this is the model of the distressor, the extended model that has the mods. So it has the Brit mod, which is sort of like tonally, it's introducing a transformer into the signal. It just it thickens it up, and then there's the stereo image link mod, which just creates a much more tight stereo link between the two units. And then in the detector, when you're doing that, you also want to put on the link mode. I'm also using the high pass filter in the detector only. This keeps the compressor from triggering on kick drums and like extended low end. It makes the end result bassier. Like it lets those kick hits come through and not compress the whole mix every time they hit. So so that's nice. And I'm doing 2-to-1, very, very low ratio, because we're mastering and we don't, we're not looking to crush it here. We're doing the signal chain is it's hitting this first, and then it's going over here to the Fern compressor, the Fern tube compressor, and we're doing different amounts of gain reduction between the two of them, but they're each adding their own special thing. So let's do some A/Bing here. This is just the iPhone, but in a way I think that's cool, because like if you can hear it on the iPhone, you know it's really doing something right. So again, this is not equalizing, aside from a little bit on the Fabfilter, this is not equalizing in the analog domain at all. This is just two different compressors. So this is with all the external processing engaged. You see very little signal present, but you're seeing the total harmonic distortion is exceeding 1%. That's good. We want to do that. We're distressing it a little bit. We want to add a little noise. Not much, but a little. This one, on the other hand, is working much harder. So on the left side, I have it set to gain reduction, showing us the gain reduction. Right side is the output VU. So we're cranking the output. And then top right there is our input level coming back from there. So it's a little too hot. We're still getting some clips. We're going to have to roll that back just a hair. But that's our amount of gain reduction right now. So we're getting up to 3 dB gain reduction on a whole mix to get 3 dB without sounding bad, without sounding too crushed. It's pretty good. All right, so let's turn it all down a little bit so that we're not clipping. And the easy way to do this without having to adjust anything on the analog processors, because I already calibrated them, is on the actual plug-in setting itself, there's a send and a return level. Let's see if I get that clear. There you go. So I can just turn down the send level. To show the world what exactly I've been up to. All right, so let's start this again. And so I took it down 1.24 dB. Let's see if that was enough. Chris. Hey, yeah, a lot of things in life I still haven't mastered yet. But I've been cooking up a plot and I'm the master chef. All right, we're not getting peaks anymore, so we're in good shape. So here's the interesting part. Let's A/B with and without. So we can bypass the entire analog chain on this plugin. All right, let's do that. That's bypassed. Now, granted, there's a volume difference, but it's really more about the dimension, the depth, the extended low end. Now it's back in. Well, I mean, I guess. Check it out again. A lot of things in life I still haven't mastered yet. But I've been cooking up a plot and I'm the master chef. In the kitchen getting hot, but yeah, there's just more definition on the low end. There's more detail on the low end. It's nice. So again, this is no EQing, it's just really some very light compression. But that's the whole idea in mastering. You use a light touch for making subtle changes. All right, that's it for today. I'm gonna keep working on this, and maybe I'll do another video showing the final result. What I do is, after this stage, I capture a new file, still at 96 kilohertz, and I bring it up in WaveLab for the final stage of mastering. Generally what I do is I use the BX MS equalizer. I forgot the model number they use, but anyway, it's the version 3, and it's really sweet for any EQing that's still needed. And then I'll usually use Ozone's peak limiter. I don't like all the plugins in Ozone, but I like their peak limiter a lot. I mean, I like Fabfilters too, but they do different things. I like to get both a little bit. You'll notice that I'm not really pumping this here. So the average level coming out of this right now is not that hot. It's between 24 and 15 dB. The final product has got to be louder than that. We got to get that average level over -10 dBFS. So that's going to happen in Ozone. All right, so I'll do that as another video. Thanks, guys.